President has received the Sugar Task Force report, which was handed over to him some 2-3 weeks ago. We want to see a speedy implementation of this report. We want to see the reenactment of the Sugar Act, the reinstatement of the Sugar Development Levy that will be levied against importers and all other players in the industry, that will help to cushion sugar industries from possible economic and financial stability from time to time. That implementation is long overdue, and areas that are highly dependent on sugar production for the economic activities like Western Kenya, Nyanza region, Coast region need urgent action so that this can be realized. We also have, and I think this is a very positive of money to the coffee sector. The coffee sector in this country has gone through a lot of problems, but an impression appears to be created that coffee money is only going to uplift coffee farmers in central Kenya. I want to urge the Minister for Agriculture to know that there is also coffee grown in Kisii, there is coffee grown in Kakamega, there's a lot of coffee grown in Bungoma. In fact, at one time, Bungoma was the third largest grower of coffee after Kiambu and Nyeri. There's a lot of coffee grown in Trans Nzoia, and this money for coffee support must be rationally spread across all the regions that grow coffee to support the coffee farmers. I saw over the week the President touring the rehabilitation of the rail line from Nairobi, Thika to Nanyuki. That is excellent. In fact, it is the rails that all over the world are used for moving stocks and goods for purpose of speedy business. I wanted to encourage the President that through the same concerns, he rehabilitates the railway line from Nairobi, Naivasha, Nakuru, Eldoret, Webuye, Bungoma, Mianga, Malaba into Uganda, so that we can also be able to move our produce. Coffee farmers who take their coffee to millers in Nairobi can carry much more load through the rail line than through the road. All the produce we have in this rich agricultural region of maize, of tea, of coffee, of sweet potatoes, of green vegetables and all horticultural products will be faster moved to the biggest market that we have, that is Nairobi, through the rail line. So we want to encourage an immediate rehabilitation of this rail line, knowing that this region had been locked off the line of the SGR that has now gotten stuck in Naivasha. For the last 2 months or so, the whole world has been gripped with the nightmare of coronavirus. The nightmare is not caused by the number of people the virus has claimed, but the danger that it is causing and disruptions it's causing to the world order. People are now afraid of traveling. International meetings and gatherings are cancelled. International sports events are in danger of being suspended or cancelled. Airlines are grounding, and businesses all over are suffering. I want to thank the government of our country for the measures they have taken so far, apart from the reckless allowing of the Chinese airline that brought in passengers who are not properly checked. So far, the government has taken the correct steps and measures to alert Kenyans and to advise on how to conduct themselves and some degree of preparedness in case we have any diagnosis that is positive. But the point I want to urge the government today is that apart from those measures being taken, This is an extraordinary problem that requires extraordinary measures for the government to support Kenyans. That the disease started in China is very telling, because many parts of the world, Kenya included, especially African countries, are dependent on trade with China. For the last 5 years, China has emerged as the largest consumer of raw materials in the world, surpassing even the US. Every single country in the world is engaged with or has something to do with Chinese business, Chinese products, Chinese trade. Now that Kenyans of low-level, small traders, middle-level traders, and high-end traders cannot travel to China to get their wares, because most of them don't trade online, they do it physically by taking flights to Guangzhou largely to bring products for sale. I want to urge President Uhuru that as we go through this budget cycle, an austerity measure be taken to cushion most of these small traders from possible collapse and bankruptcies. When such a thing happened in the US, you saw what the US government did to big companies, General Motors and all those automobile manufacturers. Austerity measures were taken, money was set aside, and they were all cushioned from possible collapse. You do so because you want the economy to remain buoyant, you want Kenyans or your citizens to remain above the poverty line and the survival line, and you want the business and the economy to continue ticking. Consequently, I want to urge the government that we set aside money. You set aside some substantial size of money to cover all the small traders in Kikomba, in Chebukube, wherever they are in the country, who are dependent on products imported from outside the country for their trade. Number two, you cushion those who have loans that they can't service because of this failure to continue with their trade. Number three, the airline, although it has not been doing well, but it has been heavily dependent on the eastern routes. Flights to Bangkok, to China, and so on are the most active Kenya Airways flights. I want also to encourage that these be protected and cushioned from the business lost. All the traders who come from Nigeria, from Guinea, from Ghana, use Kenya Airways to go to China. Now there are no more. The airline is likely to lay off its workers, and you've seen even other airlines in the Middle East, Qatar Airlines, Emirates, they're all grounding some of their airlines because of this, and Kenya must be prepared for this. We should not slip into bankruptcies and uncontrolled social upheavals because of coronavirus. As we protect ourselves against any possible infection, we must also look at the consequences that arise out of this and the spiraling danger of destruction of our economy. Lastly, today is our time to celebrate the woman. Today is International Women's Day, and I take this opportunity to send my message of goodwill, the message of Fort Kenya Party of goodwill to all the women of the world, our mothers, our wives, our daughters. All of them deserve support, all of them deserve respect, and all of them deserve involvement in the fabric of society, because they are the ones who toil and moil day and night to feed the family. There is a wonderful cartoon in one of the papers today where a woman has a baby on the back, one hand on the cooking pot, another hand washing a baby, another hand touching the forehead of her husband, another hand doing something else. I mean, that is so figurative that the woman, particularly the African woman, does work that one would presume she has 6-7 hands at the same time, when the men are sitting at marketplaces gossiping and playing ubao instead of helping women to run families.